Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Acts, the 12th chapter. Now, about that time, Herod the Great, Herod the King, now this was Herod, I believe this is Agrippa the First, stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church. So to please the Judeans that were not believers, in Yahushua, he basically, sent out his armies or whatnot to persecute or vex, as it says here, the church, right, the body of believers. And he killed James, the brother of John, with a sword. So he had him executed. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. So this is around the time of the Passover, and he executed James, and then he captured Peter. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him. So they put him in maximum lockdown. And let's look up this 4 quaternions. So the quaternion is a guard consisting of 4 soldiers. For among the Romans, this was the usual number of the guard to which the custody of captives and prisoners was entrusted. 2 soldiers were confined with the prisoner, and 2 kept guard outside. 4 quaternions of soldiers would be used to guard one all night, one for each of the 4 night watches. So for the 4 watches of the night, you would have a rotation of 4 soldiers. 2 that would be, as it says, that would keep guard on the outside, and 2 that would be confined with the prisoner. So it says here to keep him, intending that after Easter, which the word Easter here goes back to Passover, because remember, it was the time of the Passover. So really it's, as it says here, Pascha, which goes back to the Hebrew Pasach, which means Passover. So he had Peter bound, thinking that after the Passover, he would bring him forth to the people and likely execute him too. Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. And when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers. So the night before Herod, would have brought him forth, because he would likely done it in the daytime, Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers. Remember the 2 soldiers that, going back to the quaternion, that were basically confined with him to make sure he's not going anywhere, bound with 2 chains, and the keepers of the door kept the prison. So you had the 2 keepers that were the 2 guards at the door, and then the 2 that were there with Peter. And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison, and he smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell from his hands. So now how he got up out of there, hey, God knows. But you just know the angel showed up, the shackles fell off of his hands, and as it says here, and his chains fell off from his hands. And the angel said unto him, Gird thyself and bind on thy sandals. And so he did. And he saith unto him, Cast thy garment about thee and follow me. So, put your clothes on, put your garment on, put your footwear on, and let's go. And he went out and followed him, and wist not that it was true what was done by the angel, but thought he saw a vision. So it felt surreal. When they were past the first and second ward, they came onto the iron gate that leadeth onto the city. So the main gate of the prison that goes back into the city, which opened to him of its own accord. The gate just opened. And they went out and passed on through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him. So the angel came there, broke him out of prison, and let him forth. And that's why we don't have to worry about anything, because These accounts are written so that you know the Lord can literally deliver you from any situation. And when Peter was come to himself, so when he like, he's standing there, he's like, yo, this was real. This wasn't a vision or a dream. Like, this just happened. He said, now I know of a surety that the Lord has sent his angel and hath delivered me out of the hand of Herod and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews. See? So he's saying like, nah, this is for sure. The Lord did this. He sent his angel. He delivered me, right? Because they were expecting me to be delivered and to be killed. But look at this. And when he had considered the thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John. This is whose surname was Mark. Mark, like the author of the book of Mark. And so it would seem here that oftentimes they would gather at one of their places of gathering would be Mark's mother's house, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, a damsel came to hearken named Rhoda. And when she knew Peter's voice, she opened not the door for gladness, but ran in and told how Peter stood before the gate. So she was so excited, she ran in to go and tell them, and look, Peter's here, Peter's here. And they said unto her, thou art mad. But she constantly affirmed that it was so. No, 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 it's him, it's him, it's him. I know it's him. That's his voice. Then they said, it is his angel. So they basically, they threw that out there that no, no, no. If anything, that's like his guardian angel or something like that. But that can't be Peter. We know Peter was arrested. And remember, even Yahushua mentioned, right, about how, their angels are before the Lord always. So they just threw that out there because they're like, the chance he's literally in prison, right? They got him on maximum lockdown. What do you mean he's at the door? But Peter continued knocking. And when they had opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. So their eyes popped open, they're like, oh shit, what? That's Peter. Oh, that's Peter. But he, beckoning unto them with the hand to hold their peace, declared unto them how the Lord had brought him out of the prison. And he said, go shew these things unto James and to the brethren. And he departed and went into another place. So he told him, look, you go and let all this be known to James. This is the brother of Yahushua, and to the rest of the brethren. But Peter himself went somewhere else. Now, maybe he went to hide. Maybe he went somewhere, to where if they went and found that he's not in the prison, more than likely they would go to certain common areas they would suspect him to be. So there's also likely that he might have gone somewhere there people couldn't find him for a while. Now, as soon as it was day, there was no small stir among the soldiers what was become of Peter. So they were losing their minds. And when Herod had sought for him and found him not, he examined the keepers. So he interrogated them and commanded that they should be put to death. He said, you did what? Oh, well, we don't know. And think about it. From Herod is not thinking spiritually. He's thinking carnally. And so from his perspective, he's like, am I to believe that Peter, he just teleported out of here? He got up the shackles, which need keys to unlock, just magically got off his hands. And I'm guessing he walked right through the metal gates too, right? So he's like, it sounds more to me like you guys let him go. And so he put him to death. And he went down from Judea to Caesarea and there abode. And Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Sidon. So this is like there came a point where Herod was upset with them. But they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus, the king's chamberlain, their friend, desired peace. So because he was close to the king, they sought his favor to basically speak on their behalf to gain that peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country. So they depended on Herod for, nourishment, food, provision. And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto them. That is a speech. And the people gave a shout saying, "It is the voice of a God and not of a man." And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him. You damn proud ass demon. Wham! Because he gave not God the glory, and he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost. And that's a crazy way to go out. But the word of God grew and multiplied. And Barnabas and Saul returned from Jerusalem when they had fulfilled their ministry, and took with them John, whose surname was Mark. So at this point, remember, Paul and Barnabas ended up in Jerusalem to send the aid to the brethren, right? So when they went there, all this stuff had transpired. When they were finished with the things that they had to do over there, they returned back to Antioch. This time they took Mark with them. And this is before, this is all before Paul actually goes on his first missionary journey, where he goes to preach the word, through Asia Minor and so on. And that brings us to the end of the book of Acts, the 12th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Brachah, Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.